Hey, Daniel, introduce us and tell us who you are and what you do there.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? So my name is Daniel Powell. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Optimal Dynamics. So we are a decision automation company for logistics and supply chain companies. And I got into this space with a story like most people into logistics. So my father had been working on these problems for the last 30 to 40 years and needed a good CEO for his third company. And so I kind of got sucked into the industry that way. But very exciting times.
So when you say a decision-making company, I really, why don't you kind of expand on that a little bit on what a decision-making company is?
Sure. Yeah, we help truckload operations make better strategic and operational decisions. So we work with companies who've implemented software to help them track their business, like TMS systems, and we live on top of that to help companies, drive more resilient and improved decisions onto day-to-day operations.
So if I was going to take it in a layman's deal, is when I'm on like a chessboard, when I'm playing a computer game, you're just better at it than I am because you can play, because 10,000 moves over my few moves that I do as a person, right? That's basically what we're talking about here.
That's basically what we're talking about. I mean, when you look at humans, we're not really good at math. Even the best of us, we have to pull out our phone to do simple addition. And when you look at a trucking network, even if you have 50 trucks, it's like the world's largest chess problem. And so computers are just so much better at us than solving these chess problems. And what we feel now is that we can kind of give humans the ability to spend more time on the problems that computers are terrible at, winning more business, working with our customers.
Hey, Daniel, I had a question for you. What about safety? Does your system factor in weather, wind, any of that? Does it do that yet, or?
Not yet for weather, but we are always taking in every constraint about a driver. So one thing that's very unique to OD is that we don't view just a truck as a point on the road. We view the truck, the trailer, and the driver own as their unique attributes. So we're always tracking drivers' hours of service. Whenever we're creating plans, we're making sure that there's not going to be any sort of issues with those drivers' hours and not going to be trying to rush to kind of get to a delivery. And so in terms of safety, we're trying to just make the most resilient plans for the truck drivers so that they're not getting stuck in weird places with, minimal hours in their clock trying to get them to, rush to a delivery.
Hey, Daniel, I think that's a great point. And you know what? It adds to the safety of the driver when they're not feeling rushed and when they're not feeling stressed out. I think what you're creating is a better environment for the driver to feel comfortable in what he works in. And that's really what you want when you're out there on the road. You don't want them stressing out. Hey, I got to make it to this point, right?
Exactly. And so what we're trying to do is, obviously make everyone the most money, service our customers. But at the end of the day, that the drivers have to be handled, that's the key asset. That's the golden asset for all of us. And so we need to make sure they're handled correctly. And if we can take off some of that really hard planning off their plate and allow them to focus on getting that, those goods to their destination in a safe way, I think that's a win-win for all of us.
And how do you go about doing something like that? You just walk in and go, you're not any good at it here. You're not any good at this. You're sorry, you're not good at trucking. How is it that you integrate into a trucking? Like if you were to just walk into a truck, what is it you do?
Like I have, let's say I have 50 trucks, right? Yeah. And I'm working on, what would you currently use? McLeod.
Yeah, let's just say McLeod.
Yeah, great. So before we even work with a customer, we start with trying to drive value from day one. And so day one, when we sort of work with any sort of prospective customer, we always start with their data and try to show the decisions that we would help them make in an offline safe environment. When we go forward and deploy to a customer, we integrate with your TMS system. So whether that's McLeod or another service, and that allows us to expose the data to the platform. And we do it in a completely secure way. From there, we help companies make basically 3 decisions. One decision, these are our strategic decisions. So this is helping you understand, hey, how many drivers should I have? Where should they be located? How often should they get back home? Asking those what if questions that we always struggle. Right. Our second tool allows us to plan, 1 to 2 weeks in the future. as you're getting loads tendered in or you're trying to figure out issues within your network, having a little bit more insight on what loads you should actually accept and move with your truckload network. And if you do have a brokerage, understanding which of those loads should maybe be moved on that brokerage side. And then we help with the day of decisions to actually figure out what driver should take which load. But exactly as you write, we sit right on top of the technology you already have today. So you're not having to buy any additional technology on top of Optimal Dynamics.
You bring up a great point, and as we think about it, how important is it when you come into a new trucking company that we start working on data, right? That we get it right, like that, because I'll tell you, we all, like, just because I've been working here a long time, I already know about truck 1007, right? I know all about it. Everybody in the building knows about 1007, but you don't know anything about 1007. But you know what I mean? Those little things, how important is that data to clean up before you integrate?
It's important, but it's not something to get scared about. We can start driving value very early on, even if you do have some messy data. Our goal is to not just throw Terminator in the mix and allow it to take over, but it's very much allowing humans to manage by exception. So as truck 1006 pops up and the data wasn't clean, giving them the option to tell the system that there's an issue here, and then allowing it to learn and hopefully fix that decision on the next go around.
No, I think it's awesome. I do like the idea that you're looking really far out and you're also looking at the right now. How often does those decisions, how often are they being made in your own system as you're looking at it?
We update every minute. So every minute of every day, the system is updating, recalculating. And so we're just making sure that nothing's going wrong. So if that truck is just starting to get a little late on their delivery, and we know that there's another pickup that has to be made at the destination, but he can't make that because he may not have hours or he might not be there in time. Right. We want to make sure that you can make those decisions as quickly as possible and keep everyone happy.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And as you do that, I guess that's a learning process for the entire team, right? I mean, as you come in and you offer these solutions up, they're all of a sudden they're starting to receive new types of information from you or from the system, right? That to help make better decisions. So they've got to start trusting in those decisions, right? Is that, I mean, it becomes it doesn't seem like I would, like you said, Terminator show up and then everything starts happening. It's kind of a work in progress, right? In the beginning, and as you go through it, you kind of have to learn to trust the system a little bit, right?
You definitely do. And it's wherever we start with any customer, we're not trying to turn that switch on and just let it fly. We always start with a trust building phase. Offline, allowing you, your users, your planners, your dispatchers to see the system, see the decisions they make, and feel comfort. And we never turn on the operational systems, the systems that are running day in and day out, driving those day in and day out decisions until everyone feels comfortable and everyone's signed off. And so we spend.
What about the user interface? Let's talk about that. All right, I have dispatch, or I have people in the office that I need to train on this. How does it work? Is it web based? Is it down or browser based? How does that work? Right? Is it easy to use? What about that on the actual user side and training people?
It's incredibly easy to use. Our operational system is the one that your planners and dispatchers use every day. It's a simple login. There's no download to install. There's no versions to update. And it has a simple screen driving the decisions that we think they should make. We're not showing a lot of statistics. Don't get scared about AI. There's not statistics running all over the page. We try to help companies make better decisions. And so that's what we show them. And we give them the facts to help them validate our decisions and confirm them.
And as you talk about those, what makes Optimal Dynamics so much different than some of your, because there's other competitors out there in the decision-making field. What makes Optimal Dynamics? I know you've been doing this a long time. What makes it genuinely the difference maker?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that we believe is how we handle uncertainty. Trucking is messy. They're messy, industrial, big problems. And you tell me that I'm sure you know better than I do the last time where everything went exactly to plan throughout the day. And so when we have to make decisions, absolutely never. And I think a lot of the new companies out there learn the hard way that their plans in a vacuum don't actually work in the real world.
Correct.
And so it took the team decades to try to get computers to learn about the uncertainties. hey, sometimes this DC is, has a 2-hour window, 2-hour wait instead of a 1-hour wait or a 3-hour wait. Sometimes your key customer calls in 6 loads a day, but sometimes they only call in 2, and sometimes they call in 10 loads a day. Right. And so being able to understand these uncertainties when we are making these decisions and keeping an eye on all these uncertainties means that when it comes down to day of delivery, we've thinking about all the other opportunities that might happen, and so that we have the highest confidence that our plans are actually going to be executed at the most impactful level.
Yeah, that's awesome. It really sounds like not only developing a genuine relationship with a trucking company that you get into, but you work with them hand in hand right at the beginning to try to better understand how to utilize the system in such a way to make great decisions going forward to make the company better, right? I mean, it's pretty interesting. And if you do like a 50 truck company or a 100 truck company, what kind of team do you send in?
Yeah, one of the great things about Optimal Dynamics is that the software isn't scary anymore. I think when you heard optimization of 10 years ago, it was this big, scary tool that you needed, data members on, engineers to just even learn how to use the thing. Right. And that's something that we're really bucking the trend on, where we feel that any user can use the system and drive better decisions. We have 2 teams that are heavily involved with any one of our customers, which is our customer success team and our value engineering team. So our customer success team makes sure that every customer is getting what they want, making sure they're happy, they're learning how to tool. And our value engineering team makes sure that you're getting all the value out of the platform that you possibly can. Starting to get some momentum on the tool, allowing you to show the possibilities and really opening the door in terms of the value you can really extract from platforms like this.
Do you feel, and as you do this and as you integrate with these companies, how have you seen your optimization facilitate better decision-making process over a year time or over a 2-year time? Do you have good data to demonstrate how much better the company is because of this?
Yeah. So on a human basis, we've seen a lot of data in terms of allowing people to just spend more time with customers, win more business, and not waste their day with decisions that they're making, kind of monotonous day-to-day decisions that they're not good at and they don't like. And then on the bottom line, we've been able to increase profits in some cases up by 20 or 30%, which is cash in everyone's pockets. And so that's obviously it's a lot of money. And I think this is the byproduct of humans are amazing, incredible at certain things, and it's not solving math problems. And so by allowing computers to solve the chess problems that we're dealing with every day and allow the humans to win more business, work with our customers, I think there's a lot of juice to squeeze out of a lot of companies out there.
Hey, Dave, we actually do have Mr. Rick Larkin on the line here. So let's see what he says.
Sir Rick, what's going on?
What's going on? Daniel, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Rick, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, I want to thank you for being on the show. So, yeah, I'm Rick Larkin now since I'm not on there. Thank you, Jack. I can't be called Sir Rick right now. Hey, Daniel, answer this question here, though. In an industry right now in which we are 80,000 drivers short, our productivity runs on average, call it 6.3 to 6.5 hours a day of driving, leaving 4 hours, almost 40% of the driver's day untouched. What is your product there, OD? What is it going to do to capture those hours we're not using with that shortage of drivers?
Sure. So we view this in 2 lights, as we always do with all problems: strategic decisions and daily decisions. For the strategic decisions, as you're hiring and bringing new drivers into the network, as you're sort of refilling drivers that leave your operation, making sure you're hiring the best drivers in the best positions, because making sure you're getting those drivers domiciled in the right areas drives a lot of efficiency for your customer base. On the operational side, we're hoping that we're linking together loads as we accept them for the fleet in the best possible way. In our hope to drive a more efficient driver, hopefully win a couple more of those hours back because they have their loads sequenced in the right way that they can actually keep those wheels moving more of the time. There's some things that are obviously out of our control, but our goal is to learn the operations and make the most resilient decisions so that when it actually comes come time to actually pick up those loads during the day, they're sequenced in the best way so that there's minimum waste.
Gotcha. Hey, and in an era when getting drivers home, getting them back home to their families is as important today as it's ever been in our industry, how does OD help with that to ensure that the drivers are getting home on time for their appointments, on time for their family, on time for their scheduled home time?
Say that again.
Sorry about that. Hey,
there we go.
So in an era in which getting drivers home is as important today as it's ever been in our industry, what's your how's OD helping in getting drivers home for their doctor's appointments, for their birthdays, for their kids' baseball games, for their scheduled time off? How does OD participate and make that part also successful?
How we handle the drivers, I think, is one of the things that makes us unique as well. We start thinking about that scenario day one. As soon as that driver leaves that home, we're always keeping an eye on when they need to get back, whether that's going to, their niece's or nephew's birthday party or getting back to a doctor's appointment. We have that data on where they need to get to and when. And so after they take that first load, we are always keeping an eye on that and hopefully trying to get them there with significant buffer so that they don't miss those appointments and those valuable time at home hours that they need. So that is one of the most critical problems that we solve, which is running an efficient network but maintaining those drivers, making sure they're getting home when they need to, and making sure we're not losing money while we also do that as well. And so that is something that we think about day one in terms of any dispatch or any sort of load plan that we create.
Hey, Daniel, we do have a couple of questions from the drivers themselves. And, their questions that they're asking are the big ones. So does this replace, driver managers? I don't think that's the case. So what's your answer to that?
It does not replace driver managers. We believe that we have a tool to help them spend more time working with the drivers, spend more time understanding the driver's needs and making sure they're getting the best plans for them. At the end of the day, this just opens up time, gives the driver managers the information that they need to make the best possible decision for their drivers, and also giving them the tool to feedback information, to teach the tool so that it just continually and repeatedly makes better decisions for these drivers.
Okay, cool. I think that answers it. I mean, the best thing you can do is make sure, driver managers aren't missing the details, right? And so this is kind of what helps them, be better at their job.
100%. And I think when we do most of our decisions, we think about them upstream as well. That human interaction with the drivers, I've sat with the driver managers, listened to them talk on the phones with these drivers, spent time, speaking to them. And that's something that just can't be replaced. So our job is to give the operations the tools so that those drivers managers can spend more time doing the things that can't be replaced and can spend less time doing the things that, can be done better by a computer, which is solving the big trust problem that, we don't want to solve every day.
So, and actually, let me follow up with this question. And I'm just generally curious, Uber Freight, do they, I've heard about them, do they, for their dispatch and driver managers, is it just a system or do you actually talk to anyone?
I can't comment on Uber Freight and how they do it.
Or other based systems. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We focus on a different part of the industry.
Okay.
When we focus, we're not focusing in on, the owner op that runs by themselves and is using Uber and Convoy to kind of get those loads or working with brokers. We really focus on fleets that are generally 50 trucks and up. And then we also sell to private fleets for retail companies, consumer goods companies.
Well,
so we're helping big enterprise fleets make those decisions.
I will tell you that I did one of your I had an exercise thrown down to me one time, and it had like a bunch of different lanes and a bunch of different trucks, and you had to like real quickly figure out which was the best way to move all of these trucks pretty quickly. And it was given to like everybody at the table, and you go through this little exercise really quick. We all think we're great planners, right? We've been doing this for 30 years, and we get this little exercise, this sheet, and we all have a different set, right? And none of them are what the most ideal form is, because the computer goes, yeah, you're all idiots. And oh, great. like, and I did that exercise. I did one of those exercises in talking about one of these and just how much it can make a difference in the way you see things and giving us a better opportunity to view what's out there, right? Because we all have our own idea, but this really sets a table where we can make a great decision, right, on what's going on out there, and then let us make and then react accordingly. Because that may not, we may know something that, hey, that does look like a great decision, but I just I need to change that, right? I mean, that's not going to work for what I need, and that's kind of what you're doing, right? I mean, in an essence.
That's very much what we're doing. It's hard. I always empathize. I find it amazing how good the load planners and dispatchers are when I know how hard the problem is underneath. It's such a hard problem to solve correctly. It's amazing how well people do today. And so that's exactly what we're doing. We're solving the 90% that we can solve quickly and mathematically perfect. And that 10%, that's the human component. That's the component that can't really be solved by a computer. That's the thing where there's no data about the problem and the human needs to be in the loop. And that's why humans aren't going anywhere today. They need to talk to the drivers. They need to talk to the customers. And they need to be able to tell systems that say, no, you're wrong here, and I'm going to make a change. But I think there's a problem that we can streamline and improve to give them the time to spend with the customers, with the drivers, and with their team members to make.
If anyone wants to reach out to you to talk to you more about Optimal Dynamics, how do they reach out to you? How do they communicate with you directly? What's a good way to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can go to www.optimaldynamics.com, and there's a contact us button. If you don't want to go to our website, you can go to sales@optimaldynamics.com, and one of our team members will be in touch with you almost immediately and can set up a time. To work with OD, it's a no strings attached right from the get-go. So one of the things that we always do is try to show value day one. So if you're interested in what this type of technology might mean for your company, you don't need to pay a dime to get started. We do a free proof of concept where we take your data and we show you how we would improve the decisions, giving you that tangible view in terms of what does a tool like this mean for your company, not just the company down the road. And so that's always free, and you can reach us at sales@optimaldynamics.com or www.optimaldynamics.com.
www.optimaldynamics.com. Hey, we're going to reach out to you, and anybody that wants to, they'll reach out to you. Daniel, we appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much for bringing the information about how it works and what it and how it can help. And if we get an opportunity, we can have you back on in the future, right, to talk more about this kind of stuff.
You can count on it. This was a blast. Enjoyed being here, and thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate you.
Thanks so much.
Hey,
bye.
before you go, we would love for you to say your name and then BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Daniel Powell, BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.